Hello, it's a real pleasure to be able to take you through and taste the 2023 triptych of releases from Las Pizarras, which is part of the Errazuriz range from the Chadwick family estates. These are, in my opinion, some of the best, if not the best wines in Chile, coming from the Aconcagua Valley, which is a coastal part of Chile on the western coast. And they have always represented great value for astonishing winemaking and really high scores. This release, the 2023 release, comes at a quite substantial 30% discount to the release price of the 2022 vintage. That's why I'm doing a video on this wine, because I think more people need to know about them. They are extraordinary. And critical scores have been really high. The Chardonnay, 96 points across the board. The Pinot Noir, 96, 95 points across the board. The Syrah, 96, 94 points. These are from reputable critics like Vinous and The Wine Advocate. But they've also had even higher scores from other critics. I'm going to just run through them really quickly. Las Pizarras means slate, which gives you an idea about the mineral context. There is this particular seam of minerality in the rock underneath these Grand Cru, essentially Grand Cru Burgundian style sites in the Aconcagua Valley. So let's start with the Chardonnay, which is a wine I absolutely adore, and Clos fine wine clients have tasted at some of our wine library sessions. The 2023 in our lovely, gorgeous Zalto glassware on the nose. It immediately hits you with that quite unique smell you get with Las Pizarras, which is lime, rather than like a lemony curd smell. You get more of a lime note with that Chilean coastal influence. There's a bit of apple blossom, white flowers, green apple comes through, like cooking apple. Really gorgeous. Not as perhaps as zippily fresh and tight as previous vintages. It's much more open on the nose, really inviting. As usual, Las Pizarras Chardonnay has an astonishing line of acidity. My mouth is watering incredibly. The acid is off the charts. It's that wonderful mineral freshness that you get, particularly from this seam of rock underneath the sites. And obviously, I think we're only between 10 and 15 kilometers from the sea, so you get that coastal breeze. 2023 was a long growing season, which is great. It means that the grapes get to grow riper over a longer period more gently. So the fruit in that Chardonnay is off the charts. There's a wonderful sort of slightly it's almost like a slightly appley note on the palate. The flowers come through, that lime comes through, but unlike perhaps recent vintages, which I said on the nose can be quite tight, the 23 on the palate is so Burgundian in style. For me there's almost like a Chassagne Montrachet note to that. It's got complexity. It's got the sort of the fatness that you want from a really top quality Chardonnay. And when you consider that is, this is £32.50 in bond, it's, I would say, Grand Cru Burgundy level, which wines that go for 8 to 12 times as much. It really is a fantastic bargain. I'm still tasting it, so it's a persistent finish. It's there's a real longevity to this quite astonishing Chardonnay. I'll look forward to finishing that after the video. The next wine is the Pinot Noir. I was introduced to the Pinot Noir in about 2019 with the client at 67 Palmau, and I'd never heard of Las Pizarras, to my shame. And it blew me away, and ever since then I've always had a real soft spot for the wines. So look at that lovely colour in the glass, sort of that lovely pale colour. And on the nose, oh, wow, really beautiful. That reminds me very much of a really crunchy red fruited Burgundy, like a lovely Pommard. There's an astonishing kaleidoscopic range of things on the nose. Crushed wild strawberries, raspberries. There's this blood orange note, pomegranate, a bit of rose hip. There's actually a bit more floral essence to this on the nose. That's really intoxicating. There's a bit of rose petal as well, as with the rose hip. It's gorgeous. On the palate. That's astonishing. Genuinely beautifully knitted together. There aren't as many whole bunch, or I should say there's a lower whole bunch percentage in the blend this year. So you've got a real sensuousness on the palate, which I don't think you normally associate with, you know, Chilean coastal Pinot Noirs. You know, the tannins are cashmere soft. They're so well interlaced. And then you've got this lovely sort of floral note. There's the rose that comes through on the top of the tongue, roof of the mouth. Then you get that sort of crushed red fruit, red cherries, mainly sort of strawberry, and then that sort of blood orange note through the middle. Again, like with the Chardonnay, the acidity is fantastic because of where we are and because of the soils. And again, like with the Chardonnay, I'm still tasting the wine. That's a phenomenal offering. I think that might be better than the 15 I tried a few years ago. That might be their best yet. I mean, the scores would say it is. That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. And finally, we're going to look at the Syrah. So this is their Syrah. Again, these are from particularly special sites. And that's like inkier. All of a sudden you can see this like inkier, darker colour in the glass. So let's have a good smell. Wow. Suddenly you get sort of more of like a cedarwood and iodine notes. There's red cherries, there's black cherries, a bit of damson. Almost a bit of heather coming across. But that black fruit is tinged with a little bit of red fruit. That lovely sandalwood note. Sandalwood rather than cedarwood, sorry, on the nose. That's beautiful. Some violet too. Some violet. These are intensely floral wines. I mean, from this vintage. In the best possible way. They have the fruit profile, they have the structure on the palate, but they have this really intoxicating, almost quite hedonistic note on the nose. Although there's such different sizes, such different grapes, obviously. On the palate, if you're not sure if you like Syrah or not, if you have friends that don't drink Syrah, you should be buying this. Easily one of the best around. As a pure 100% Syrah, that is astonishingly fresh. It's got this sort of electricity running through it. The acidity again is wonderful, but it creates this tension with the tannins. The tannins are still soft. They're slightly more filigree than obviously the Pinot Noir, but they react. They counterbalance the acidity so beautifully that it creates this sort of tug of war that's persistent on the finish. And then I'm getting this lovely sort of almost flecks of violet on the finish. Yeah, and there's a real depth of flavour. Some Syrah I find can be a bit vapid in the middle. The mid palate here is really full, really vibrant, really fruity. And although it's drinking beautifully now, obviously it will keep for a long time. But I mean, why you wouldn't buy a case of each for now and a case for lying down for next month, I don't know. But I think this is genuinely the first time I've just opened these bottles, I've poured them and I've pressed play. So these are my first genuine impressions of the wines. I'm biased because I've always loved them, but these for me are the best they've ever been. As I said, the scores, the 96-point scores, bear that out from the top critics. But I think for me, these are exemplary wines. Particularly you got this Burgundian style for the Pinot Noir and the Chardonnay, and this sort of Rhone-esque but lighter style for the Syrah. I just think it's absolutely brilliant. And the big point here is the price. £195 in bond for 6 in this gorgeous wooden case, which comes with that on top of it. And I've got several cases down here in my cellar where I work. That's quite ridiculous, genuinely ridiculous value. I know lots of merchants talk about you must buy this wine, or this is a brilliant one of a kind wine. These genuinely are, and they come with my personal recommendation, all 3 of them. If you're not sure, just buy one of each. I mean, there is so much charm and delight, whether it's you or on your own, or you at a dinner party. The wines shine beautifully. So I'm really looking forward to getting my cases, and I hope you will consider buying some with me as well. Thank you.